Hey, what's up everybody? It's the last Troy and we're back with some more Genshin Impact. Who would have guessed? But this video we're gonna do a quick guide and overview of how to build a typical DPS. We're gonna use Keqing mainly as an example because it is her current banner and she is a little more robust and deep in ways that you can build her. Some characters are an exception to certain rules, but this is just a generalized overview. So let's get to it. So let's start off with weapons, okay? Weapons is the biggest thing you can do to your base attack other than ascending your character. So you want this number to be as high as possible, so that way your stats, mainly the attack percent, can scale off the base attack. So Keqing's not getting too much extra base attack here because she has a level 1 dual blade and her attack's only at 1100. So her base attack naturally is 323 at level 90. So if we swap that out for something a little better, you're gonna see that because she has more base attack to scale off, her attack's gonna skyrocket. So always try to get a nice weapon for your DPS and try to get a nice substat that will complement your character. And if you can, try to go for the 5 stars, but don't break your bank. So now that you have your foundation and your base attack and weapon, everything all settled, the other thing that you really want to focus on for your stats are the two big ones, the crit rate and the crit damage. Now there is a ratio that you want to follow, and it's typically twice as much crit damage to crit rate, the 2-to-1 ratio. So you want your crit rate typically to be above at least 50%. The higher you can go, the better. And then you want your crit damage to be double that. So it's really important that you kind of find a balance. This one's a little unbalanced because Keqing does have natural crit damage, so she goes a little ham on it. But you want something like this, okay? And energy recharge is never a bad thing to focus on too, especially if you use your ult a lot. And depending on your character's element, you're gonna want to find pieces and set bonuses that can enhance the damage from the element. So it's very important that you find those pieces. Also, when you reach around 65 to 70% crit rate, that's when you can kind of start breaking the 2-to-1 ratio, and that's when you want to crank your crit damage up even more. So in order for you to get those desired stats, you're going to need to work on your artifacts. Now you will get some substat bonuses from your weapon, but the artifacts is where it's at. And there are a couple of general rules that you should follow when you're building a DPS. So not even worrying about what set to get for your character, you're going to need to focus on the main stat pieces. So your flower will always be flat HP and your feather will always be flat attack. So this means that you should be able to find the substats much easier on your feather and flower because the flat attack and flat HP cannot be in the same substat role. So for sands or the timepiece, you're always going to want attack percent with decent substat rolls. And for the circlet, it's going to go either two ways. It's going to go either crit rate or crit damage, depending on what you need to balance out your character. The biggest stickler of finding any set or perfect artifacts for your character is going to be the elemental goblet. This thing will typically break up the sets because if you just find one, you're just going to want to use it. Even if the substats aren't great, this will boost your character's damage by a lot. So always try to invest in one of these. Alright, so finally we're at talents. Talents are super important because they multiply the damage of all your skills and bursts and auto attacks. My general rule is to get everything to 6 and then just kind of see what you need from there. Because after 6, you're going to need to be using weekly boss mats, and those are very precious. So be very careful on what you spend it to. I'd say auto attacks are always safe since you're the DPS on the field, but skill or burst, I'll leave that up to you. And that's just a quick general overview of how to build a DPS. If you have any questions, just leave them in a comment below. I read them all. Or you can follow me on Twitch at TheLastTroy on TTV. I'm there every night at 11 PM PST. Drop a like, comment, follow. If not, it's all good. See you next video.